And the qualifier continues. Meta Madness 8. Qualifier number 1. Ping gapped against Team Ash. I actually like this. So again, this is the first qualifier for Meta Madness 8. We currently do not have any pre-banned heroes. The traditional Meta Madness rule is in place though. You can only play hero once within a series. And as usual, for all the Meta Madness tournaments, the amount of pre-banned heroes hinges on sub-goals on Twitch. So once that we're entering qualifier number 2, we might have a couple of pre-banned heroes already, and that number is then likely going to increase as we are moving towards the playoffs. There's $2,000 on the line. All of that is self-financed by me, so there's actually no big sponsor or anything around this. But as you can tell right now, we're already having 2 top teams here, because this is a team Avoid Same Heroes, aka the newest iteration of Team Ash. I gotta admit, I love that these guys are quite... I mean, it's kind of funny that they come up with a new team name all the time. Initially, it was Arthur's Stroidrum, I believe, was their initial name, and from there on, they always came in with a different, different meaning of the acronym, but it was always Team Ash on the right side in red, and this time it's Avoid Same Heroes. Whereas Ping Gapped, I mean, I can only assume that they're using the team name because it's basically Team PG. So we have PG going up against Ash, and it is the North Americans, Cure Madara and Legacy playing together with Ultralisk and Skog. So real cool team, and I'm very interested to see what exactly they can do here. We have some very nice teams forming for the event right now, and this is only the first qualifier. There's a chance that some others are going to form to participate in qualifier number 2, number 3. You never know. It's always the same teams that sign up. If there's going to be some new ones, sometimes, you know, a team can't make the weekend, so they're just going to sit one out. But as we're heading into our first map in this best of 3, we now have Johanna taken very early, and we get Sylvanas and Anduin on the other side. So with Infernal Shrines being our first map, I mean, Madara and Sylvanas is already pretty impressive. I'm really looking forward to this, and I have to give them a shout out here. I've been doing this every time that the Europeans play cross-server, and I want to highlight it again. There is a ping disadvantage for players like Madara, Legacy and Cure. That's just a fact. There's some people that always try to minimize it. It's bullshit. When we had the good old days of HGC, for example, the American players were whining even when they had to play on a different server within the US. Those ping differences are even bigger when you're talking about US versus Europe, so if you're talking about the different servers here. So does that mean that you cannot play the game? Of course not. These guys are good enough, but it still means that there is a difference, there is a disadvantage that you're playing with, and that should be highlighted. So we're going to do this in their case. Big shout out to the 3 of them to play cross-server, to participate Meta Madness. Really respect that, and I wish them all the best for the tournament, of course. Hanzo and Blaze for Team Ash. So Lopaka with Hanzo right now, and we also have Morenas in with the side laner. The combo between Johanna and Blaze obviously a staple in the meta these days. And as we're going from one game to another, as we're going through the different qualifiers, as more heroes in general are going to be banned, I think we're going to break very, very quickly through a lot of these meta picks. But at least here in the first qualifier, we still have some very, very strong options in the first game in particular that the teams can rely upon. That's exactly what we're getting here. So we have Jojo and Blaze. That was always a super strong one. And with the double pick now coming in for the red team, we can always expect them to get their own tank now too. Diablo is already banned out. That would have been a good option for either one. Just getting the sheer amount of wall stands going and just bullying people around on the objective is of course already worth it. And with that we get Malthael. Cure is going to play him, as it seems, and a Nubarak. So already a big dive with him. Could also pair Light Bomb with him. That, by the way, shocked me when we casted the Korean tournament just the other day. That they played Anduin with a bubble over and over and over again. We got a couple of Light Bomb games, but boy do they love that bubble. Like, my Donald Trump impression these days really, really sucks. And I was like, completely, wait a second, I have to like dig it up again and just try to go for the good old Donald here with the best words. It was, I mean, the thing is also when you're in the game, you can't do the hands. The best hands, the biggest hands. But yeah, so I was suffering there. But Anduin, they really love that. Last pick, Dehaka. So we got 3 frontliners. We have Greymane and Rega, the dog pack for Team Ash as their final picks. Game number 1, everybody. Infernal Shrines. Let's jump in the second match in Meta Madness 8 qualifier number 1. Ping gapped against Team Ash. On the left, we have the North American European mix with Cure on Dehaka, Madara on Sylvanas, Ultralisk on Malthael, Legacy is playing Anduin, and we got Skuk on Anubarak. On the right side of the map, Team Ash with Renella on Rega, Dead Inside on Greymane for Team Avoid Same Heroes. Shizakid is playing Janna, Morenas on Blaze, and Lopaka is playing Hanzo. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Ultralisk is playing Malthael here, and we got a Beetle build for Anubarak as the party starts up. And yep, this should be a pretty good one. I'm actually quite impressed that these teams are already meeting this early in the tournament. We're currently in the round of 8 in the winner bracket. And yes, we have a double elimination system, even in the qualifiers. So teams have multiple chances to gather points. I haven't really gone over this yet. I explained it in the first match that we cast, but just in case you haven't watched any of the Meta Madness qualifier matches yet, the way that this is done is that in each qualifier, depending on how far you get in the bracket, you're gathering points. And those points, they will then be added to a ranking, and that decides at the end of the day, at the end of the qualifiers, if you are getting into the playoffs, yes or no, and at which position. So even if you don't win a tournament, even if you drop into the loser's bracket, you still have a good chance to make your way through the rounds and gather some extra points. So that's kind of how all of this works. And already we get some pressure from Ping Gap from Team PG, as they are trying to destroy the bottom wall. Now, this is obviously a bit of a strategy. Haha, nice save. Job well done by Anduin. Okay. I was just about to say, it's a nice strategy when you are looking more towards macro, because you're saying like, hey, we are a little bit more hesitant to go for the micro-intensive gameplay because we have a ping disadvantage. But just look at this, it's a bloodbath. Oh my god. Everybody is going for the party, and Anubarak is the first one to die, but Ultralisk is also low, so is everyone in the red team. Hanzo is down, and Sylvanas. Madara is shitting on them before he finally gets taken out himself by Blaze and Rega. But a triple kill for Sylvanas. Work of art by Madara. Look at this. And Anubarak dies first, and then it's the Sylvanas show. Sees the opportunity after Malthael gets everybody low. Madara comes in and just wrecks them. 3 kills to 2 in favor of Ping Gapped, and that was an opening into the game. Now they lost the camp. The camp was actually taken by Team Ash, but they made them pay for it, for sure. Now with the first objective coming up, everybody is of course interested to get their Shaman camp. We already have up at the top side. Oh, Morena's missing the stun on Cure. That jet propulsion could have been big if he was able to hit them here. But down to the bottom of the map with Jojo. Already another move being made, obviously trying to now use also all the abilities here, Condemn in particular, to take down the minions as quickly as possible and then push straight into the objective and try and win Punisher number 1. But the blue team is actually not heading there. It's only Malthael. Rest of the team is again interested in playing the macro game and going topside to not only take Blaze out, but also in order to use Sylvanas to take the wall down. So Malthael has to be careful down at the bottom of the map. Ultralisk is already retreating there. Might still find himself in trouble too, but they are taking Blaze down at the top for sure. The rotation has happened on the other hand. So while all of this was going on and Blaze now dies, they realize that they can't just let Sylvanas alone at the top with the rest of the blue team. So they send Greymane and Rega up, but they keep 2 of their heroes down at the bottom of the map. A reaction that I really like from Team Ash. So that was a good reaction for sure. The problem, of course, is that the blue team now has level 7, is now starting their own rotation and will therefore take control over the point at the bot lane. So very nicely done by the blue team. Very cool move that allowed them to not only get a kill, but also the lead on the objective. They have level 7 as an advantage. That has been negated. and now it's a proper team fight. But they at least start the fight with a leg up. 32 stacks to their name, 33 now. That's already worth something. Malthael a little bit low, but still able to get out. The red team is catching up quickly on the other hand. They're catching up really quickly. 30 to 34 now. They have full control. 35, 38. And they're about to lock it in. Well done by Team Ash. They still win the Punisher. And I don't think that anybody is going to die here. No, they get out with the entire team. So good for them. That means that the blue team now has to bait over the wall. Shouldn't really be a problem. Yeah, Sylvanas is already jumping on the wave and just baits it over quickly. Not an issue there for them. Anubarak had to dive back out and is now halving towards the Nexus, which means down at the bottom of the map it's very tricky and difficult for them to save that fort, and yeah, it ain't happening. This fort gets destroyed. Job well done by Team Ash. And that's that. First one taken out. So, 1 fort down. And with 4 kills to 2, they still have the lead in experience, but the passive XP is, of course, now slowly going to work in favor of Team Ash. Definitely something that they can rely upon as the game continues. They will at least bridge the gap quickly, so there shouldn't be a big advantage around level 10 or anything like that. Very evenly matched, at least up to now. I was honestly, I said before, I was surprised when I saw these two teams matched up in one of the earlier rounds. Normally, when you're talking about tournaments, of course, the early rounds are fairly dominated by one team or another. That's also how seeding works. This is something that is used in any proper tournament. You have seeding structures just to make sure that the top teams don't go up against each other and eliminate each other in the first round of the tournament already. So what we're seeing in the early rounds is more so lesser experienced teams just gaining exactly that, experience against some of the better ones, and then might have to fight their way through the losers bracket. But here we have very early in the tournament 2 teams that seem to be evenly matched, and this means we could have our first best of 3 that goes all 3 maps, that goes the distance. Level 10 abilities are ready for both. It gives us the usual talents. We have Last Rites again, and also in addition to that, obviously the light bomb here. The Korea tournament was definitely a bit wild. I mean, Korea obviously a shadow of its former self, as we've seen in every single offline event that we ran over the last 2 years, particularly in the Nations Cup in Berlin. That was quite transparent, but even last year, the 2 tournaments that we hosted in Miami, the Heroes International, it was quite evident that Korea is just not on the same level anymore. And you can't really blame them for that. They don't have as many tournaments going on for themselves any longer as we enjoy in the European scene. Oh yeah, nice, Last Rite, counteracted by the Ancestral. Yeah, but basically what I'm trying to say is that the Korean meta is still very, very different. Might not be the strongest meta anymore, but it's fairly entertaining when you're coming from the Western side and are more so used to Western picks. You will still at least enjoy a couple of talents that you normally don't get to see. But this is also what Meta Madness is obviously all about. Once that we are getting deeper into the tournament, particularly the playoffs or the later qualifiers, we can expect more and more crazy combos. And, well, who knows? Maybe we're gonna see even a Butcher this time. Last Meta Madness, we didn't get one. We had him banned once, but we didn't have him picked. I think the last tournament where we actually saw the Butcher was in the grand final of the Nations Cup. One Butcher game. Which was kind of funny. It was really enjoyable, so yeah. There's always a chance to also get some nasty comms. Give me that Murky and Abatha anytime you want. I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, drop in the comments which hero you really would love to see the most. Everybody has their favorites, being it Gazlo, Murky, being it Nova, but which hero are you really waiting for to see in, let's say, a final of a qualifier? When we're talking about the final of a qualifier, what hero are you really waiting for? What's the hero that you feel needs to get finally some love in some of these events right here? Who finally gets some love is Punisher number 2, and for good reason, because this is a frozen Punisher that we're getting. And both of the teams would love nothing more but lock that bad boy in and take another fort down, which is likely what's going to happen here. So already we got Inevitable End and the boots for Anduin. Yeah, they have that level 13 advantage and they're using it immediately. Sylvanas jumping across again. Yeah, Rega gets cocooned. Bunker is already gone. Blue team still alive, but it is the red team that is using the superior AoE damage to go for another objective. And yes, they will win Punisher number 2. Now Sylvanas is attempting to get some value at the top, but is quickly interrupted by Blaze rotating over. The red team can now set up this push in the middle on the other hand. So that's what we're getting. And they will likely take another fort out. We'll see if they can actually do the whole thing. But it is a frozen Punisher, and those are usually rough on structures. I mean, it's really difficult to defend against those guys. And it doesn't seem that the blue team can burn this down quickly. So Team Ash is looking strong here. 2 forts destroyed. Dehaka, Cure, he is at the bottom of the map, trying to counterplay this a bit and also get some damage in. It's not going to be enough. Ah, Lopaka trying. Oh, he gets the interrupt. Yeah, Cure is dead. Cure is dead. He can waddle away and try and waste a bit of that time, but he is going to die. There's the interrupt with the arrow as he's trying to burrow out of harm's way. And of course, eventually he is going to get murdered. There it is. Nice interrupt. But while it happens, there's also a push at the top. So good on the blue team for always trying to get some extra pressure, but it results in Sylvanas dying. Nothing is really working together for the blue team. And Team Ash is just reacting very nicely to what's happening on the map. They see Dehaka pushing at the bottom, they rotate over, are able to interrupt the Hearth back. And then at the top, they are able to take out Sylvanas too. So it's 5 kills to 4 now. The lead in experience has now gone to Team Ash. And yeah, this is looking great. The ults, by the way, that were used to kill Dehaka are basically back already. So 5 seconds for Jojo to get a blessed shield back. So plenty of time. We now have also level 16 about to get dropped, and more importantly, the next fort is destroyed, and that means if you're looking at the passive experience, it is already increasing nicely. That's a 2,000 experience point gap that Team Ash is already enjoying, and this is only going to widen as this continues. So, yeah. They're getting a lot of value out of the fact that they are the only ones that have taken some structures out thus far. If they can protect their fort at the bottom of the map too, then this trend is just going to continue as the game continues. 16 is ready for both teams. That also gives us for Nubarak his Epi center. And Anduin, he's starting to cheat with the double pull. So now that he has 2 charges on his trade, that could really help them to save some targets here. Martha is the only one that hasn't died yet. Ultralisk still safe. Sylvanas again pushing for the top. It's a desperate attempt to really get anything done here. Dodges out on the first arrow, gets caught by the second, and Sylvanas is gone. Great coordination from Team Ash. I mean, this was well played. The first stun is dodged. The second one is lined up for the wave. So they just told Hanzo, all right, my boy, you do you. You come in and take him on there. That's exactly what they did. And this is now the 3rd time that Sylvanas has fallen. So yeah, she's gone. 6 kills to 5. Half a level lead. Big lead, of course, in particular on structures. And that includes fountain control. You still have that fallback option. Still can go easily for a fountain here at any point if you're playing for Team Ash and they are just waiting for the next shrine to be announced. And given the situation that they're in now, it is difficult for Team PG, for Ping Gapped, to make a play here. But they're more or less forced into it. It currently doesn't seem like they're even engaging into the fight, but I wonder what other chance they have. I mean, if you don't take this battle and you're not trying to go for the objective in the fight here, which battle are you going to take? Seems like they're still trying to just out-rotate the opponent and get some structural damage going. I get the impulse, but I'm honestly a little bit worried on at what point they want to make their stand. That's the bigger problem. Malthael, he gets finally killed here in the middle as they are going for the fort up at the top. Obviously, it's another objective for the red team. And before the Arcane Punisher even moves towards the bot lane, they're already destroying one of the towers. They're taking the gate out, and the second tower gets destroyed too. So, yeah, this is already looking very, very good. They are going to get this game.
You can't prevent this anymore from happening. This keep is gonna get destroyed. I am gonna put a shoe on the head if this thing survives. It's just not happening. Arrows in, they pull the Punisher into the middle, but it is getting just crushed here. And level 20 is getting closer and closer for Team Ash, so they're looking so powerful here. They might even be able to end the game. If they had level 20 at this point, they would for sure, but now it depends on whether or not they get another kill, and just as I say it, they are able to lock another kill in. Malthael also dies. And that's, ladies, is all she wrote. Yep, that's gonna be game. Map number 1 goes to Team Ash as Ping Gapped gets a bit murdered. 15 minutes in, and we have a lead in the series for the blue team. GG, well played.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Game number 2, we are heading to Battlefield of Eternity, and Team Ash is in the lead. Now again, 10 heroes that were played on the first map cannot be played again. Typical Meta Madness rules. As we are heading into qualifier number 2, 3 and the playoffs, depending on sub goals on Twitch, we will have pre-banned heroes as well, and I will always announce them. So always when we're starting a new qualifier, I will announce if there are pre-bans and what those pre-bans are. They will be down here, so you can check that out. But currently, we have only the 10 heroes that were played on the first map unavailable to these teams. With Battlefield of Eternity being the map, I mean, again, I would expect to see maybe Li Ming, maybe see Vala, the typical damage dealers when we're talking about the objective. We had a Greymane just in the other series. You could get Lunara too. She's a little bit hit or miss. She doesn't get played as much anymore these days. We've seen her a bit in the Korean tournament. But there was that. Diablo gets banned again. And I kind of want to see what exactly Ultralisk is going to play here. And also what we're going to get from Madara, for example. It's an old story, but Madara was one of the first players that convinced me that you can actually have pretty decent games with the Dragon Strike on Hanzo. He was the first player that in games, like Meme Strike was always a bit of a fun one, and Madara was the first player, I think it was like 3-4 years ago, that played it in a way that he got insane value with every single ult he YOLO'd out. It was pretty impressive, honestly. He always was able to just zone the opponent out. It wasn't so much about the damage, it was more so about him forcing heroes on the other side into positions where they would then die. And that was extremely well done by him. I remember meeting him for the first time at an offline event there and talking to him about it, because that was honestly impressive. Before that, whenever I saw that talent, it was just laughable. And that was the first time I was like, alright, finally somebody that gets some value out of it. I can appreciate that. Now, obviously, the arrow is still dominant in every single tournament, but occasionally you're getting something there, so yeah, it would be cool to see that at some point here in the tournament. I doubt it a bit. These days meta has evolved away from it, but if you have certain combos, then you can of course still try and make a play. I think back then it was Leoric with an Entomb and then the arrow that was usually played, but he played more so around the opponent's positioning. But yeah, a little bit of a tangent. Here's Vala, as expected. Probably gonna be an arrow build. Technically, you can play also auto attack on Battlefield of Eternity. So it really depends on what your focus is in team fights. We get the double support here, meaning Uther will be played as the main tank. And I can only assume that they would have loved nothing more than play Vala too, because if you're running this particular setup, then Vala has a lot of sustain and it helps her to keep her stacks together, assuming she goes for auto attack. And again, on Battlefield of Eternity, you can technically do both. If you're only focused on the Immortal, then of course arrow build is what you're really looking for. But if you're trying to dominate the team fights and then also play around that auto attack damage, then you're definitely going for stacking there as well. So with that, we now have Lunara and Li Ming eliminated, so is Sergeant Hammer. So Lunara even gets the ban hammer. And Garrosh gets eliminated on the left side. But yeah, we still need our main tank, of course, for them. And also another damage dealer. With everyone that's banned, you could still go Greymane here. Still an option. Could play Greymane. We could see Jimmy for one of the teams.
particularly the Koreans were very fond of Jimmy as an option on Battlefield of Eternity. A little bit reminiscent of what we've seen in the Western scene, I want to say like 2 years ago, where Jimmy was played over and over and over again. These days he is not played a lot, at least not in games where the teams are playing on eye level. So as we have more bans coming in, that is of course going to change. That's the beauty of Meta Madness, that you see different heroes all the time, or at least you're supposed to, as these tournaments continue. But yeah. So they got Muradin, they got Urel. Heavy frontline already. Muradin always nice on Battlefield too. And what's the range damage now for Ping Gapped for Team PG? I get some mages here. Sonya, alright, and Cassia. It's gonna be really interesting. Uther again as the main tank, so he's gonna double as that. Then you have Maiev, couple of tethers. If they honestly go for any kind of stun combo here, it would be glorious. Can you imagine Cure coming in with a good leap on Sonya after Maiev starts to tether everybody around? Ultralisk is a beast on this hero, so it could be real fun to watch this. But we have with Battlefield now our final pick, and it is on the red team side. They need a bit more damage, and it's Alarak that they're going for. Okay, so we're getting Alarak as the final pick for game number 2. The chance for Ping Gapped to force game 3 and draw even with their opponents. Oh, of course, Team Ash could just walk away with it, lock another victory in, and then move on to the winner bracket semifinal. Let's check it out. Ping Gapped against Team Ash. Game number 2. Cure for the blue team is playing Sonya. We have Madara on Cassia, Skork on Uther, Ultralisk is playing Maiev, and we got a Legacy on Stukov. So obviously the swap happened between Uther and Stukov. Again, main tank. And Team Ash on the right side with Renella on Malfurion. We got Shizakid on Murden, Morenas on Urel, Dead Inside on Alarak, and Lopaka is playing Vala and has so far not made a choice. Again, you could play her with both builds, auto attack or arrow build. Both of it is possible here, and they decide to go for the arrow build, so way more damage against the Immortal. Can also be super powerful when you stack this properly against isolated heroes, of course. They don't have a double support behind it, so Vala is probably going to die at least a bit, and well, here we go. It is a party time! Alright, well, we get a couple of hits in, but no kill just yet. At this point we have a single stack for Vala, obviously, that she just got. She's going to try and work on this as best she can, get the reset on level 4, and then the really important talent on level 7, which is going to make sure that she can solo an Immortal in a fairly reasonable time frame. What we currently have here is also charge strikes for Cassia, so no stacks happening on her end. And the ruthless momentum for Alarak. We're going to decide about that later. We're going to see how much momentum he really gets and how many stacks on his baseline we're talking about here. That's of course one of the biggest questions as this game continues. But there's nothing more that Team Ash would love here than getting a few good hits in and then win this series to make it straight to the next round. This is, again, winner bracket, so you have a loser bracket. It is there. Even if a team loses, they have another chance to lock in a few points and make it slowly through the rounds. And the first one to fall is Murden. The dwarf goes down, killed by Stukov, the man with the big arm. Got slapped a little bit over here, yep. And that leaves us with first blood for Ping Gapped. And here is again Ultralisk with another tether, and they get another kill. They take Malfurion out. Now, to be fair, there's 2 heroes also destroyed on the blue team side. First we had Stukov being punished for the audacity of killing Muradin, and then they started to focus Maiev after realizing that Ultralisk is the real problem there, so that was a quick one too. We now have the repeating arrow on level 4. We get the Plate of the Whale for Cassia. Every single time that I see Plate of the Whale, honestly, it just reminds me of like some food. It really feels like this is basically what an obese person eats, which brings me neatly to America. So I was just in San Francisco for a couple of days, and it was funny as hell because we were in a steakhouse with a group of people. So a couple of us were ordering burgers, a couple were ordering steak, and then one person's plate arrives, and she had on her plate a baked oven potato.
So a baked potato, huge thing, like massive, massive thing. And we were like all weirded out because like, wow, I didn't even see that on the menu. That's crazy. Like you had your steak there. I was like, damn, you went for 2 main courses, but where's that potato on the menu? We've been looking for this. We couldn't find anything like it. And then it turns out that this wasn't the main dish, this was a side dish. So yeah, a massive baked potato in the US is not a main dish, it was actually a side dish. When I was back in Europe, I stayed at my dad's place in Germany for a bit and I met with friends and we went to a bar, to a restaurant there. And there they had also baked potatoes. And they were proper main dishes there. And they were smaller than what you would get as a side dish in the US. It was absolutely hilarious. I couldn't believe it. I looked at it and was like, wait, what? That's a side dish? I was like, okay, I could have just had a side dish in the US and I would have been happy. Had some really nice burgers though. I had a very spicy buffalo burger that burned twice. I know, TMI, a little bit too much information, but while they are locking in the first Immortal, there honestly wasn't really too much happening here. Now this could change, because now we're getting some team fights. Before there was just exchanging a couple of blows on this. But yeah, not really. No more kills. The only kills that we got were in the early game. The blue team wins the first Immortal. I really think they're going to have a harder time pulling that one off once we are looking at level 7 talents for Vala, because this is where the real power of her comes in. And we get what? Frost shot? Huh? Are you okay, Hello Parker? Is that a misclick? I'm a bit weirded out. Did he just misclick that? The main reason while you're going for arrow build on Infernal Shrine, sorry, on Battlefield of Eternity, is because you want Monster Hunter here. Now, I'm not saying Frost Shot is useless, but what? Okay. That has to be a misclick. I don't believe for a moment that he actually intended to do that. On a different map with an arrow build, I mean, honestly, on a different map, you wouldn't even go for arrow build. You would go for auto attack build in the first place. The main reason to go for an arrow build here is Monster Hunter. He must have misclicked that one. Maybe he quick picked with hotkeys and couldn't. I mean, damn. That's gonna be a bit awkward. Could help to increase their damage against heroes, obviously, but it's going to make it real awkward on the objective. So they might have to change their style a little bit to go for the team fights now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying they're losing the game because of this. It might help Valor to get more damage out, but that is definitely changing the strategies a little bit. So yeah, misclick confirmed apparently. 19 stacks for Vala. So yeah, alright. Gotta change the playstyle a little bit. You can't just rely on her dishing out immortal damage as much any longer. But you can still focus on the team fights a bit. So with level 4, you can still get the repeating arrow, the added stacks for level 1, which means that they have to try and focus more on team fights than just simply the macro play around the immortal. Makes things a bit awkward, but we'll see how they are going to adapt here. Still got a chance to win this one, but it is of course rough if your main damage dealer is making a mistake like that. So a bit unfortunate. They lost a fort at the top, but we still have them in range with experience, both teams on level 9. So, yeah, this feels a bit bad for them. But they have an impact here on level 7 as well. On the other side, we get Severus him. And now with the next Immortal coming up... oh, I will be annoyed if I'm Bala. Yeah, the damage is not going to be anywhere near what they would usually get. Oh, this sucks. But again, they are still able to get some damage out. It's a race between the two teams, and they win it by a couple 100 points. Not by much, but again, they just take it. So now it's more so a question what happens during the team fights. You can still get value out of this, but I would assume that he is quite annoyed. But let's see if they are getting a bit more value here. So Vala is currently trying to stack. Gets also a couple of hits in from the distance. At the same time, we're getting Playmaker from Murden and the Deadly Charge. And here comes Leap from Cure. This is exactly what we wanted. We're getting Leap after a good tether. This could be real fun. Already they're trying to go for the next kill. Valkyrie is out. Nice. Couple of hits coming. Vala with nice moves. The cage on the ground. Malfurion with his ults right away. Vala the first one to fall though. So she's gone. Another kill for the blue team. And they're looking for another one as they're coming in for Morenas. But Urel is able to get out and jumps away from the fight.
Uther with another stun, but it's not going to be enough. And down here, Ultralisk again with another tether against Alarak, and Alarak is gone. Alarak gets murdered. They try to go for Muradin, but they can't follow up with a third kill. But they can definitely follow up with another Immortal. With 2 kills that they just netted, they are now able to get the next objective and push this through the, well, top lane apparently, because bot lane has now been destroyed by the camp. Good for them. And that is... Guys, we are actually looking at potential game number 3. This is looking better and better for the blue team. They're not there yet, but they have a good chance. And Muradin jumping in and trying to lock down Madara. The problem is that there was still the minion wave, so Shizakid was really hoping that he could somehow circle that sledgehammer around the minions, wanted style, but that didn't quite work out. They get some nice damage here. That was a pretty good combo, particularly with Alarak committing to it too. But they just barely missed out on the kill. That would have been glorious if they can get that early on in the mortal defense. Ultralisk is low, but here is the move for Malfurion. Malfurion is gone. Perfect Valkyrie. And that is the most important kill now. Just as we had Malf go not only for the ult, but also, of course, without your support, you're now in real trouble. As all the sustain is gone, they have to give up the keep. Won't be able to do anything about it. And this is just looking damn good for Team Ping-gapped. Team PG, particularly since now Alarak and Vala are both dead. And they might not even... I mean, they're going for the core right away here. And why wouldn't they? So this is looking glorious. I was just thinking that they should be happy with dropping the key, but now that they killed 2 additional heroes and they're working on the next one, murdering Malfurion again as it seems, they can just go for game and force game number 3. This is exactly what we talked about in game number 1. They're evenly matched and it shows 9 kills to 2, and this is it. We are going to game 3 in this series. Nice. Dragonshire, map number 3. And we're going the distance here. I like it. It's a cool series to go into the 3rd game. I also confirmed with the players, by the way, so Vala's level 7 was obviously a misclick. So every single time there's a pretty obvious misclick, and I talk about it probably being a misclick, there's at least 1 or 2 people in particularly the YouTube comments that's like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. I play this build in Plastic League and it's really, really good against the NPCs that I face against. So if the pros would just play my build or my hero properly, then they would all win everything. So that's why I just confirmed it. Was indeed a misclick. As predicted. I mean, again, you picked this build for a reason on this map. So, yeah, they said it was a misclick. Then again, I don't really think it would have ended any other way. It wasn't Vala's level 7. If this would have been a 20-minute game, that would have forced a change in playstyle, but given the fact that the blue team just rolled over Team Ash in the 2nd fight, yeah, they just had a really nice showing there. So it is the game that we expect, and now on Dragonshire it's going to be decided which team continues through the winner bracket and which team drops down into the losers bracket. So we have Karazim banned out. Now obviously 20 heroes are now unavailable, right? 20 heroes have been played, 20 heroes can't be picked anymore. So that makes things a little bit more interesting. Still plenty of options in all roles that you have. So you can have still a lot of variants in builds, particularly on Dragonshire. You have some other heroes that all of a sudden become interesting too. I mean, again, you could play Vikings here, for example. Just this name one. Rexa for the top lane is always powerful, so you don't have to only look towards a Blaze pick or the Haka pick or whatever it may be. A lot of them not available any longer, and Diablo is continuously being banned by one team or another. False that as a global, also fairly impactful in these situations, so he gets the axe as well, which leads us to the first pick for Team Ash. So first pick is always decided the same way. Basically, if you lose a map, you have the choice. Either you go for map choice for the next game, or you choose to get first pick on the next one. Traditionally, I would say 95% it is first pick that teams are looking for. Sometimes a team wants to play a specific map and opts in for map choice instead of first pick, but it happens rarely. It doesn't happen a whole lot. So Brightwing gets picked by Renella.
And our double pick for Ping Gap. So they got Hogger for the top lane. That's already good. And we have Varian. Now, who do they pair with Varian? Uther has been played. Stukov has been played. Malfurion has been played. That leaves 3 heroes already off the board that are very good to combo with Varian because of Taunt. Now, you could play Tyrande. You could play Tyrande. If you really wanted to and you need somebody to lock the target down, Tyrande would be a good option for them. And normally, again, you know that I'm not really the biggest Tyrande fan. I really like her and I love when Tyrande was in the meta. It was always fun to see her. The problem is that these days it's very difficult to play her because of positioning and how easily she's taken out. But in the context of Meta Madness and heroes being unavailable, she can be a good option. Talking about good options, Tracer might be a good option too, depending on what else we are getting for picks. So there's that as well. But yes, when we're talking about potential picks, Tyrande is one of them. There's more supports out there, of course. I mean, again, Deckard Cain, for example, is still up, right? But if you're really looking for sniper composition and you're looking to chain stuns, then Tyrande is now becoming one option in your arsenal, depending a bit on what your opponent is picking there too. So definitely a hero to keep in mind a bit. Especially with Lucio banned, with Kerosene banned, with the heroes previously being picked to. So let's see if they're actually banning another support out, if they're trying to limit that pool further. And the answer is no, they go for Kerrigan, so they're targeting Ultralisk. This is something that's going to happen in the tournament one way or another. He already showcased his Maiev skills again. And now we have Kerrigan banned out, so that's happening there too. But what's the double pick for the blue team? What is Ping Gapped getting? What are we grabbing for the NA boys? Madara in particular. Madara and Legacy. Genji and Chromie. Really? Genji hasn't been played yet? What? We're in game number 3. And that fucker hasn't been chosen yet? Alright, alright, alright. Then we'll submit to the Genji game. I didn't even realize that, honestly. Particularly with... I don't think he was banned last game, so they picked Anduin and they didn't go for a Genji light bomb combo. But okay. And they leave up Legacy as the last pick. But the red team finishes on the death with Kel'Thas. Nice. Kel'Thas in the house. And we get Tyrael. Okay. Love it. Let's go. I like Kel'Thas. I think Kel'Thas is fun. It's always a bit of nostalgia that speaks there too, but I really like him as a hero. There can be cool plays. Gravity Lapse is just a cool ability, or it can be when he gets comboed with other stuff. And there's Deckard Cain. There's the old man. So it is boomer time. Dragonshire, game number 3, everybody. Let's jump into the final map of this series in the winner bracket of qualifier number 1 of Meta Madness. The final map in the series. Team PG, Ping Gapped on the left in blue with Ultralisk on Genji, Cure on Hogger, Skork on Varian, Madara is playing Chromie, and we got Legacy on Deckard Cain. To the right side of the map, Team Ash with Renella on Brightwing, Dead Inside on Kel'Thas, Ashalanor, Salami. Salami Man with the Gravity Lapse and all the power in the world. Mana Addict as his level 1. Shizakid on Tyrael, Morenas on Leoric, and Lopaka is playing Junkrat. Let's go! So, we already have Consume Vitality in. On the other side, we're getting the Agile Dismount for Genji. Still can't believe that he's in game number 3. You always expect him to be played early and then not available when we're progressing through the matches, but we have him right here. And Hogger is already rotated towards the top. And of course, for Dead Inside, one of the big things is going to be stacking his level 1. You are trying to complete it by level 10. You really want to have it as soon as your opponent has heroic abilities, because it gives you that added level, that added layer of safety. So the more of those globes you can get, the better in the early stages. And he already ran straight into Varian in his attempt to grab some additional globes in the middle of the map. Was attempting to go and double soak pretty much, but that was shut down. Chromie in the meantime getting access to her level 4. Junkrat is already busy down at the bottom of the map, so Lopaka is really going for this one early. 1 minute in and he is instantly on the camp. Now, generally, I like this as a little bit of a sneaky move, but yeah, they might actually get that. The blue team has fallen towards the left side to get their own Siege Giant Camp first, and so they had to let this one go. Nicely done. Can be a bit of an aggressive and risky move by the red team, but it paid off here, and it immediately results in them getting value at the bottom of the map and maybe taking one of those towers down. So yeah, good for them. Chromie also! Nice! What a cool kill here. Well done by Junkrat and by Khaldor. This is this combo potential that I mentioned with Gravity Lapse, and I really love it. We now have the Energy Royal on level 4, so a bit of an adjustment over what we traditionally see. But look, the entire wall has been taken out, and they're getting another kill, don't they? They go for Varian and they drop in 2. Team Ash, damn son, they are getting absolutely ruthless down here. Check out that kill again, by the way. Look how they killed Chromie. Keep an eye on her. So Chromie's back there, then gets caught by Junkrat, and immediately there is the follow-up from Khaldor and the kill. So they got 2 kills just now. They destroyed the entire wall, stayed maybe a little bit too long, and they lose the Fruit Fly because of that, so Trashwing is gone. But still, that was a very well-coordinated attack. It gave them a huge lead in structures, in experience, at least this early on. It was very nicely played. So, great job. Now, of course, with the level 4 now in the hands of both teams, that also means that Varian has his ult ready. I mean, yes, this is pretty much his ult. So, there we go. Taunt is in. On the other side, we're getting the Divine Vigor. And, wait, what? They got the Dragon Knight. It was so early in the game that when I realized that both of the altars, I thought, yeah, well, somebody's going to interrupt middle. But, yeah, not so much. So, at the 3-minute mark, the blue team is already getting an objective. Now, these early on normally don't do that much work because they are still very weak. What you're trying to do essentially is you are just thinking about keeping it alive for as long as possible and then getting the Dragon's Breath out time and time again. But yeah, that was actually kind of funny. So they just let them take the Dragon Knight and they're like, yeah, we don't care. So the bottom push now has to be responded to. They need to be very careful here where the Dragon Knight is still getting one Dragon's Breath out after another. So far, so good. And over here, we have the wall destroyed. Level 7 is now in. We get the burnt flesh, by the way. And we also have Purge Evil. So it seems more and more an aggressive style for Teriel, which I fully endorse. Absolutely like that. So this is going to be fun. And with level 7 on both sides, we now also get Lionheart. And we got Seeing Red. Yeah, I also see red all the time. By the way, it was so... I talked earlier about me being in San Francisco, and I went to a Target. It was close to the hotel where I stayed. And it's amazing to me, because any supermarket that you go to in Spain, you basically have, I would say, a third of an aisle. Like a third of an aisle, and also only one side of an aisle with sweets. That's all that you have. In the US, it was literally 2 aisles with nothing but sweets. And I'm not even counting chips and the salty stuff. That was in a different aisle. So I had 2 aisles just with sweets, and half of one aisle was just M&Ms. And for me, that's absolute poison. M&Ms is, oh god, I love M&Ms. And there's so many good variations. The one with almonds is insane. If you're going for the white chocolate M&Ms, they're incredible. I literally had to walk through this thing with my eyes closed, or I would have just gained 3 kilos just by walking through it. But it's always so amusing to me. On the one hand, I really like it. On the other hand, I absolutely hate it. So I'm not quite sure what I would opt for if I had the choice to incorporate that in any supermarket here in Spain. But it's always funny for me to actually see that US, when it comes to some things, is fairly amusing. And that is definitely one of those. But yeah, 2 aisles just with sweets. And then you go to Spain and you have a third of one side of an aisle. And that's just all the sweets that they have in the supermarket. It's always amazing to me. But yeah, they have like a kilogram pack of M&Ms. Ah, boy. Again, when I lived in LA, I cannot even begin to explain to you how difficult it was to me to not end up just eating one of these things like every second day. Also, that Entomb, damn! What the hell? What an Entomb, baby! Leo with some big level plays here. Love it. Got a second kill too. Then Khaldor and Teriel are down. What a fight! 4-3. Absolutely fantastic. And particularly this Entomb. We're going to take another look at Leo. Keep your eyes locked in on Leo here and the Entomb that he throws out. Look at this. He gets the Entomb. Then we get Judgment.
They get the kill against him, and before that, he already murdered Deckard Cain. So Leoric with big plays here, and of course, massive aggression are also coming from the fact that they went into Judgment as an ult, which was telegraphed with the level 4 and level 7 talent in his build. But yeah, we got a spicy one on our hands for sure. This is game 3. Each team wants to stay in the winner bracket. It guarantees you already more points, more or less, or easier points in the tournament. So yeah, you want to make a big play here and not drop down into the losers bracket. Khaldor, by the way, nearly done with his level 1 quest. Bit trailing, but there it is. More safety for him now. Generally speaking, fairly even game. There's a bit of an edge maybe for Team Ash. If they hadn't lost the first objective, I guess they might have been able to defend their mid lane a little bit more, but they're still doing a lot here. Chromie is still trying to get a kill, and nearly got the fruit fly destroyed. That fly swatter was pretty hard to handle. But as is, we now have another push for that bottom fort, and thanks to the Bruiser camp, if they can poke a bit further, that would be great, but they also have to safeguard what's in the middle, and Junkrat is doing that. So he gets the experience, makes sure that the fort doesn't lose too much. There's a top side push that has to be responded to as well, and that's where Junkrat is now finding himself. But this down here is, of course, doing damage. So yes, they are getting damage here. Hogger dies up at the top. Fight there still continues. Down at the bottom of the map, they couldn't quite get that. And they want Genji. And the X strikes out. And is able to get away. Ultra Lisk. What? He got out. They got everything on him. And then he had the ability, the cooldown back in time. Boy, oh boy. This is a game that we now have. Love it. Unyielding Despair. Ultralisk survives. That in and of itself is already crazy, considering how much they were trying to drop on him to take him down. Yeah, Khaldor, careful my friend, has the shield, uses it, still in trouble. Where's the save? Nope, gets locked down and dies. The old man, too much power. Stay a while and get wrecked. And wreck him they did. And now they have a chance for another Dragonite. And Tomb is out. Genji could move into the middle to get the DK and is on his way as we speak. Down here, the fight continues, but they have to retake the position if they want to have a chance, and it is too late. Ultralisk gets the Dragonite, and now they can retreat from the bot lane battle and focus onto the DK for structural damage. Yeah, initially at the start of the game it looked really good for Team Ash, but now with Varian having access to his level 4, of course, and them following up on all of these engages quite nicely, they're starting to turn the tables on them. So mid lane fort is already gone, Dragonite is still being chased and drained, but the bottom fight continues. They're trying to get the kill. Renella gets out, Junkrat arrives, and they should be able to get at least one. They should be able to get Varian. Get wrecked, Ragdoll. Yeah, he's composed. But the second fort is also about to be destroyed, so yeah, nicely done. Genji is able to get 2 thanks to that. Bottom fort, of course, is now going to fall. And they're also destroying Deckard Cain. Yeah, later Boomer. He's gone. And they're going to destroy the fort. So as the dust settles, thanks to the added kills, Team Ash is ahead in experience, but of course they lost a lot more structures. They're trying to build on those kills now by stealing some of the camps away. Might just be able to do some damage in the middle too. Genji, on the other hand, is able to take Leoric down. I mean, again, Morena's just activated his trade. That's essentially what happened here. Trade activated. That needs to be a voice line, honestly. That really needs to be a voice line. But yeah, either way, 5 kills, 2-7, and by now they hope for level 16. Okay, there's another hit with Judgment. No follow-up though, but they baited out a few abilities. There was an exchanging cooldowns that we just saw. Looking at the damage output, we have 25,000 for Tyrael. He's a top damage dealer for Team Ash. So it's not Khaldor, it's not Junkrat, it is actually Tyrael. Tyrael with Judgment after Judgment, but even he can't come close to Chromie or Genji. Genji in particular is sitting at 37,000, which is of course bananas. They're catching Varian, nice and Tomb, but they need the follow-up. Reptile! It's not enough. It's not enough. couldn't really rip them. Interrupted, by the way, the ult of Deckard Cain, but Tyrael! He could get the explosion kill. He is gonna... No, he's not getting it! They lost Khaldor too. Genji is getting the kills here. Also, nice route from Cure, straight through the curve, but he gets killed. So does Junkrat. What a bloodbath again. 8 kills to 8. 16 kills in only 12 minutes now. They go for Leo, they drop him again. This game is all over the place. It's an absolute slaughter, turning Dragonshire into a graveyard as one hero dies after another. There's another chance to get a Dragonite. They're already moving in. They have Genji in the middle. Ultra is going to take this one. Meantime, we have the top fort getting attacked, but it is Dragonite number 3 for the blue team. Third Dragonite for Ping Gapped. The NAEU combo team is starting to gain more and more ground on map number 3. And Team Ash, I mean, keep in mind, they were the ones winning the first map. They won map 1. They took the first map, they did well there. But now they are starting to fall behind. They're behind by an entire level. And they have not seen a single Dragonite yet. Whereas their opponent has already gotten 3. Interesting also to just choose completely into Drain here. So 3 Drain talents already for Morenas. We'll see what exactly he's going to do on level 20. I mean, normally you would of course expect him to go straight away for Buried Alive. But every single time I see a full Drain focus, I'm always thinking, what if? But yeah, Right Wing is at the top. They obviously need to win a fight and they need to take some structures down. Red team, yeah, they gotta do something, and that something has to involve a few heroes getting killed, a bit of momentum being built, and then them taking some structures apart. But they are playing catch-up. They're still an entire level behind. There's level 20 to consider. Right Wing is trying to push out the side lane a bit, and hoping, of course, to get something done with that, but it's not gonna be easy. And they know that too. So the question is, what can they do here? Currently they're only defending, they're buying a little bit of time. Level 20 should happen for Ping Gapped, and I would assume that with level 20 they will also have a chance to get themselves a 4th Dragonite. And then it's going to be all about defense. Is Team Ash going to be able to survive through it, grab their own level 20 and then bring the game back, or not? This is essentially what the next 2 minutes are very likely gonna look like. So, yeah. Level 20 any second. Dragonite or the Shrines should be announced, unless there's a bit of a sneaky and cheeky play with the Ring Around Rosie moves to try and deny it and slow it down. It should go to Ping Gapped, and then it's all about defense, getting level 20 yourself, and then hoping, of course, to turn the game around. So they already submitted to that particular style of play. There's the Shrines activating. Stuck in the Loop is in. They're actually going into the middle, trying to get a kill there. Tyrael is gone. Tyrael gone. Gets some explosion value against 2. So for defense, he'll be back. But the goal has to be level 20. It just has to be. There's no other way around this. So Ping Gapped, they lock in the Dragonite. They try to attack with it. And then it's just a question of what can they get. Can they get a keep? Can they get kills with the push? Maybe go for core? Or what's going to happen? And for the red team, it's all about defending. Get level 20, ideally for the defense. If you can get it for the defensive play now, then even better. Dragonite hasn't been taken yet, so they still have a little bit of time. There's one minion wave down at the bottom of the map already, or a little bit. There's another one coming. They're getting closer to this. They should get it more or less in time. They won't be able to reach this one. It's too far out. Can't really risk it. You can tell that they're playing this very patiently. So they're not quite on Storm Talons yet, but they're getting a little bit closer. But let's see how bad this is going to be for them. There's Chromie shooting from a distance. Hogger is the one that took over on the Dragonite. So now you gotta do what you can. And they have level 20 any second. Before the keep takes damage, they will have Storm Talons. That's essentially what we're looking at. So here we go. That gives us Flamethrower. It gives us Angel of Justice. Chromie again trying to look for kills. And she gets Leo. She gets Leo. If you lose anybody, he's the one. Leo is the one you want to lose if someone has to die. So they traded him. Can they get a counter kill? And they cannot! Ultralisk survives again. That little shit just doesn't die. He's the only one that hasn't fallen yet. Varian, at least he gets dropped, and so does the Keep. Keep is going to get destroyed. They won't be able to save it, but it is at least a trade in kills. So they lost a Keep. Game's not over yet, but at this point, now they have to start dominating these fights a little bit. Now they really have to start making big plays. They're coming in with another Judgment. This is, of course, the big advantage now. Cooldown reduction all over the place. They're trying to get another kill, and they need it. They really need some. Ultralisk, he has to die, and he finally does. It's Khaldor who turns the game. He has the extra range now. They take down Genji. They take down Augur. They want more. The old man. Burn, burn, burn. And there it is, kill number 4. And Leo has done it. Leo has indeed done it. Look at his level 20. I already alluded to it. After his talent choices, he went for the Burning Despair. Shizakid with another attack. They want to go for the bottom keep. They want to draw a bit even. But let's not forget that the mid and the top lane are also pushing against them. That's another problem. They have catapults everywhere looking for the additional keeps. They need to send someone back unless they are thinking about ending the game right now. Can they? Can they end the game here? 20 seconds until Genji is back. They have a 5-man still standing, but can they end the game? They're making their play. They're making their choice now. Oh my god! And Tyrael dies to the keep. Tyrael dies. Leoric is dead. They gotta retreat. They gotta retreat. And this means they have to send someone back quickly to save the 2 keeps here. They at least destroyed the keep. They got that. Keep's gone. Keep is gone, so that's already in and of itself a win. But they have to make sure that this in the middle doesn't fall, and of course the next problem is that they have a shrine coming up, and there's a 5 versus 3 on the map now. Liu should be back, but for Tyrael that's a different question. I mean, you can't really blame them too much. If they get another kill, they can go core. They were maybe a bit too aggressive, but then again, it's Team Ash that we're talking about, and aggression is their middle name. So, yeah, that should be another Dragon Knight now for the blue team. And then, of course, they're going to try and go for core. Ah, that hurts. They should have... Hindsight is 20/20, but they should have played it a bit safer. So there's the Dragon Knight. They safeguarded their keeps. Blue team should honestly... I mean, I would probably go for the keep in the middle first. Traditionally, you walk through the bottom of the map and straight for the core. But given the fact that this is so low... Going for a little bit of a quick one there might be the play. Already good drain on the Dragon Knight. That's 12% of the hit points gone right there. That definitely helps. And if they are able to just poke this out a little bit further, then that would be fantastic. Ults have not been used yet. So yeah, they go for the mid keep, and I really like this. I think Ping Gap need to take this one out. Just shut him down. Shut him down as best as you can. But here's the Entomb, there's Judgment, and there's the kill. Varian is dead again. Varian is gone. 13 kills to 13. What a beautiful game 3. What a beautiful game number 3. Love it. Fantastic, honestly. This is the first qualifier for Meta Madness, guys. This is the first few points that these teams are going to start to accumulate. We're not in the last qualifier, we're not in the playoffs here. This is literally qualifier number 1. And it is awesome. We're not even in the semifinals of the winner bracket. This is a quarterfinal match. And it is beautiful. Core losing hit points, though. That is less beautiful. Need to take the catapults out. Yes, it is Winion time. We're 20 minutes into the game. 68% on the core, but they took the top 4 out, and now they can poke. It's Khaldor's really that is such a big problem for them now. With one... Look at this. Khaldor's damage is just nuts at this point. He's at 46 stacks, he has 65,000 damage, he is slowly starting to become the top damage dealer in the game, and it's thanks to Flamethrower. It is thanks to him just dropping one flame after another here. So there are still chances for Team Ash. Are they with their back to the wall? Of course they are. Their core is at 68%. Missed an opportunity to stop it at 69, but hey, I'll take what we can get. So there's still a fort in the middle. That's a big problem. Keep at the top. Gotta deal with all of those. But they can still fight this back. Genji has 71,000 damage now. 71,000. 50 stacks for Khaldor. 50 stacks for him right now. Yeah, and again, they're pushing and they're pushing hard over here.
So the attacks, they keep coming. They can't. Another judgment. They want Chromie. They can't quite get her here. Ult's already being used. Chromie with one time loop after another. And it is the end of Leoric. Leoric is turning again into Leorki. But he also is just continuing to drain them, to slow them, to give them vision. As mentioned before, if anybody had to die, then it is always him. And he's, of course, going to reduce that death timer as best as he can. Oh, they can't get the camp. Can't get the camp, but they get some additional damage out with Khaldor. Blue team cannot push for this, but this is a Dragonite you can't give them. You have to fight back here. You cannot allow them another Dragonite. How many Dragonites did Ping Gap now get? 5? 5 or 6? Can't even remember. But they have to fight for this one now. You cannot give them this. You cannot. No! The timing didn't work out. And that is Tyrael gone. Boy, oh boy. I think that has to be it, right? If they're not somehow able to now insta-slap someone, then this is going to be the end of the game. We're 22 minutes in. You only have a single keep left. The Dragonite can straight go for it. They were so close of interrupting that grab at the DK, but they just missed out on it. And Tyrael dies as a result a second later. And this is just not looking good. Nope, nope, nope. Here comes the Riptire. It doesn't matter anymore. There's no way. Look at that Dragonite. Look at that beast. Hit after hit. And this is it. A 2-1 victory for Ping Gapped over Team Ash as they continue to the winner bracket semifinal of qualifier number 1. GG.